Welcome back, people. Today, we are not going to be doing the usual style of video, not very scripted, not really very much of anything. I'm going to be blind reacting to the Diet Culture song by Brye Music. This first came up on my radar when I was on Fat Logic, kind of just looking through it, see if anything caught my eye, and this song did. Someone posted the lyrics, I have read through the lyrics, they're absolutely awful, and I will be picking through those, dissecting them, but first I'm going to blind react to this song. I haven't actually heard it before, and I don't know. We're going to watch this together. Some of you, I imagine, won't have heard this either. Well, sorry to ruin your day, but we're going to listen to this. We're going to watch the video. So here is the song. I've never heard this before. I don't know if it's going to be good. I'm willing to bet that it won't be. I'm willing to give it a chance. So here we go. I was going to put this in the introduction and then I forgot, but this is the woman who wrote the song. This is the one who wrote the lyrics. This will probably make a bit more sense when I show you what the lyrics are, but just keep in mind, the woman who wrote this and says the things that she says looks like this.
My smaller friend is bloated and has to announce it. My mother-in-law needs shapewear so her bits fit right. Someone I just met jokes that they forget to eat until it's the middle of the night.
I don't think that the actual song so far is very bad. The lyrics so far. So we have something about her friend is bloated and she has to announce it. Okay. Do not announce things, Brye. Do not just comment on things, on bodily sensations. Someone being bloated is not the same as being fat. In case you haven't noticed, it looks very different and also it's painful. So if someone's saying, I'm feeling very bloated right now, they may not be commenting more on what they look like. They may actually be commenting more on the discomfort that it's giving them. She also mentioned that her mother-in-law has to wear shapewear. Does she not realise that shapewear's kind of existed for a very long time? Said about someone forgets to eat until the middle of the night. Well, to say that the body positive gang likes to associate themselves with the disabled community, I'd just kind of like to point out one thing that came to my mind there, because they like to bring ADHD and autism, or these neurodivergences, into this as well. If you have ADHD, you may actually forget to eat. I think that as well is a little bit ignorant. It's not fat phobic. I thought the whole point of body positivity was about, oh, people's bodies are all different. Well, yeah, some people just don't get hungry till later on, the same way some people don't get tired until 4 in the morning.
I know their worst fear is to look like me, and that fact makes me want to kill somebody.
Yeah, this is why I was saying, look at the woman who wrote this. The woman that is now on the screen, apparently they are all terrified to look like her. She, to me, just looks normal. In most westernized English-speaking countries such as the UK, people like that would probably be considered to be a normal, healthy weight. No one is looking at her and thinking, wow, my worst fit in the world is to look like that. Also, I think it's a little bit arrogant and it seems very insecure that apparently everyone else, how they feel about their bodies, is actually all about her and how she feels about her body, more importantly, how she looks. Body positivity here. She is talking about all these attitudes, or not even attitudes or actions, but just things she has observed in other women, and she's painting this as aggressive, as an attack on her, an attack on her body, because of course, her and her body are completely different entities, it's not under her control whatsoever. They're attacking her body, they're being aggressive, they're being fatphobic, they're being bigots. But then she says over such tiny perceived slights, wow, you make me so irrationally angry, I want you to die. Where's the positivity there?
I'm eating at the counter and you're talking about your weight. I usually don't hate you, but today I'm enraged.
Why are you eavesdropping into other people's conversations? I never knew that things now had to be censored to such an extent where you can't talk about your body whatsoever in case it upsets someone else. I personally have a very tall friend. Well, compared to me, everyone is tall, but he's about 6'3". And if I suddenly said to him, do not mention your height ever, ever, ever again, any circumstances, otherwise I, who is a whole foot shorter than you, is going to get irrationally angry and want you to die because you've just reminded me of how short and inadequate I am. That would be utterly pathetic. I think if I said something like that, he'd probably just laugh in my face. If you're really that positive and confident in yourself, other people's weight shouldn't bother you unless you are the one turning everything into an appearance centered competition.
You look at me with pity, just know I do the same to you.
No one's looking at you with pity. Why are you looking at them with pity? Why is it fine when you do it, but not when anyone else does it to you? And also, I don't know if this woman realizes, because she does seem to have the emotional maturity of maybe, I'll say, a 10 to 15-year-old. If you're out in public, people are usually doing much more than looking at you, judging your body, in the same way that you, Brye, are judging other people's bodies. I can guarantee no one cares. Especially, as I say, in a Western country where more people are obese or overweight than are healthy weight or underweight. You are not a minority here. You are not being treated like a sideshow freak. You are the majority. You are the norm. No one is looking at you with pity because why would they?
What a sad life you live, afraid to gain a pound or two. I know that feeling well, and I can always tell when someone is controlled by their food.
And you're not controlled by food. You're not controlled by body image. You're not controlled by your weight. Yet here you are making one of the most aggressive, self pitying, and moral high horse riding, if that's even a term, songs I think I've ever heard. Not everyone does want to gain weight. But then again, that doesn't mean they're controlled by their food.
And I know at this point that everybody hates themselves and hates their bodies.
Ugh. And you see what I'm saying now about putting words in people's mouths or projecting thoughts? This is just projecting onto them. I don't think that. They think that. Therefore, it's their fault, not mine. It's not my thought, it's theirs. This is very telling to me. Who said that everybody hates their bodies? I can say with full certainty, not everyone does.
But I put in the work, yeah, I've done my time. I'm taking up the space that is rightfully mine.
She's apparently put in the time, she's worked on herself, but here she is basically saying, if you're thin in public, die. If you wear shapewear, die. If you eat on a night time, I fucking hate you. That really seems like someone who is very self aware has put in a lot of work into themselves. I feel like her idea of putting in the work is just blaming everyone else to put, in essence, a big shield around her delusions. And she's saying, I'm taking up the space that is rightfully mine. And what space would that be? The femcel position that I mentioned in the last video, in which you constantly criticize and punch up and bully and tear down other women? Is that the space that's rightfully yours?
There's nothing wrong with my body. Fat is not a dirty word. If my body tells me something, I will make sure it is heard.
People have speculated on what this comment here means of, if my body gives a message, I'll make sure that it's heard. What people seem to think this means, and in the context of the song, what I seem to think it means, is that if she feels hungry, she will just eat. What I think people forget is that animals do not tend to have self control. It is not really very innate to us, it's something that we have to learn. If you are to put just infinite amounts of food in front of an animal, it will just continue to eat it. Because we live in a techno industrial world where food now, the means of production, has never been faster, more efficient, cheaper, For so many people, if you want to overeat, if you want to live off highly palatable foods, if you want to overindulge, all day long you can. There are people now who can get up to over £1,000 because they want to just keep eating all day for whatever reason. So I've got to say, listening to your body and listening to every single impulse and urge is not a good thing. For example, if you're quitting smoking because it's bad for yourself, you can't just say, "Oh, well, I'm intuitively smoking today. I'm only going to have a cig when I feel like I really, really want one." You're going to end up getting through about a pack a day at that rate. In the same way that with intuitive eating, you can say, I'm only going to eat when I'm hungry or when I really want to eat. I'm going to eat what feels intuitive to me. If your intuition is telling you to eat thousands of calories worth of highly processed foods a day, no wonder you're fat. That is you having a problem with self control.
If my body is a vessel, I will give it what it needs. I will not betray my body, no matter what they think of me.
Again, with all this my body, my body, my body, why is it not me? There's nothing wrong with me. If being fat is a core part of your identity, to the point where you're making a song such as this, if you are fat, if that is your thing, why is it your body? Why is your body this vessel? They always dehumanize and distance themselves from their body because coming to terms with it, saying this is me, this is the skin I live in, this is the body that I maintain and choose to keep it this way, they would have to take some accountability. They'd have to say, this isn't society's fault, this is all down to me. Okay, so to finish off that, she's saying she won't betray her body, no matter what they think of her. First of all, who are they? She actually, or at least someone in a Reddit comment mentioned that she had to take a medication, and one of the side effects, one of the possible side effects, was weight loss. Because of this, she was so reluctant to share this with her audience, which to me really doesn't scream, I don't care what they think, I'll do what's right for me. Also, if she doesn't care what they think, if she's as revolutionary as she claims, why she just spent 2.5 minutes singing about how other people's tiny little actions, or even tiny little thoughts that she has kind of just invented and plucked from thin air, that she doesn't care what people think, so she's made a whole song about how much she cares about what people think. She's wrote a whole song about how people being thin makes her want to kill them. The hypocrisy is what I want to point out. As you can see on the screen, here she is in the middle, and what I want to say is, in the world of fat acceptance, she would only be considered more or less mid size. I must say, she talks about taking up space that is rightfully hers. Well, the thing is, in fat acceptance, I've seen plenty of people. I'm going to do an entire video talking about their entire sliding scale of fatness, all the different categories, but I've seen people from higher up the categories saying, mid-sized women are not allowed in body positivity because they're thin passing, because they're too privileged, because they're not really fat. And yet here she is talking about how people looking like her is their worst nightmare. If someone is super morbidly obese, or even just obese, looking like her may actually be the goal. She is small enough to the point where, as I say, people are not going to notice her. So the fact that she's having to create this whole narrative of everyone's looking at me and they don't, it's their worst nightmare to look like me. It's not. You are average. You are an average size. You are typical. She seems almost desperate to be victimized, to be stared at, to be objectified, and turned into a spectacle. She wants the outrage, is what I'm getting from this. She wants to be a victim. She seems to be reaching out and clawing for any possible reason that can shift the blame for her insecurities from herself onto everyone else. It's not her fault that she feels bad and she hates her body, because apparently everyone does. Also, the way that she thinks people are always scrutinizing her, looking at her, it just comes off to me as very self centered. So, one thing, after doing all of that, I just noticed her name is actually pronounced Brie, like the cheese. I'm sorry, I guess. Sorry if I've upset you, Brie, not Brye. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. That dragged on for a long time, but this song just really annoyed me. You think the actual song isn't too bad. I think that the message, the lyrics, are horrendous. I think that this song sucks. It reeks of entitlement. This is not a good song. Even people in the fat acceptance community in her YouTube comments are telling her that this song is very aggressive, that it's very self pitying, but no, thin people need pity. And again, I want to know what do you guys think about the fact that she looks the way that she does, but then claims to be treated like a sideshow freak, despite looking like the most average sized person you can imagine. I personally find that absurd. I think that despite her saying she's put in many years of work to get to where she is now, I think maybe she ought to put in quite a few more. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.